the graphic novel series. I wanted to kind of talk about it because I've not really talked about it, and I wanted to introduce it. People who, are interested in it. It's not out. I'm still working on it, so it might be a minute before you get to see anything really, but I wanted to record the process of me making it, do vlogs on it, talk about things on it. I'll do more in-depth stuff on my Patreon if you really like it and you want to know more or see more. I have a Patreon tier specifically for my graphic novel, but let me just kind of give you a little bit of an idea of what it is. It's called RavenCrypt. It's a dark fantasy. I kind of like the idea of bashing multiple aesthetics into the world building. So medieval, sort of cyberpunky, with like the technology in the world, like it's medieval, but they have a sort of futuristic technology aspect to it as well. It's gonna be 7 books, 6 books in the actual series, and then I want to do a prequel on one specific character before what happens in the 6 books. And it's going to be about the overarching story throughout the entire thing is that there is a vampire. He's a founding vampire basically, and takes over RavenCrypt, because RavenCrypt is the country that this takes place in, and he has a hatred for Fae. So in my novel, there are Fae and there are humans, and obviously a vampire. He has a hatred for Fae, so he goes and he kills all these Fae, and he either kills them or he turns them into vampires if they're, and then, or he captures them. Like he's just going around, he's destroying all of their villages and where they live. The main character at the time is a child when all this happens. She ends up surviving, but she ends up in the land of the dead, even though she's alive. So she's not supposed to be there, basically. And she spends 10 years down the land of the dead. She comes across the Grim Reaper, which he has a personification, because so he looks like a human, and he strikes up a deal with her because with vampires, since they're undead, it's messing with the equilibrium of life and death, and that affects the Grim Reaper. So he tells her that he will help her get back to the real world, since she's not supposed to be there anyway, and help her be able to basically enact her revenge, but it comes at a cost. And it's a very big cost. But since the main character, she's super angry, and she really wants to get revenge because she saw her entire family get killed, she takes it. And it's very character driven. I have character arcs for all the main characters. A lot of what the main character struggles with has to do with this bargain, essentially, and her identity. She goes back 10 years later. The world is completely different from when she was a child, because the vampires, it's been a decade, so they've taken over everything. They think of it as like an authoritarian government, but it's the vampires running everything. And then there's a group of Fae who were able to escape and not be killed, and they basically run a rebellion against the vampires. And then the people, the humans, there's a group of humans as well who run like a cult for these vampires, because they would do anything for these vampires. They worship them like they're gods. And then there's the in-between people. Everyone's pretty miserable. Everyone, they're scared. A lot of people died, whatever. The main character basically goes on this quest of stopping the vampire, the first vampire, the guy who started all this. That's like the main story, like the overarching story. Obviously, I gotta break everything up in between. For the prequel is going to be about the main vampire because he has a backstory that kind of ties in with everything, like how this happened. So there's Faye. The main character is a Faye, a full-blown Faye. Obviously, the main character, the vampire, who's the antagonist, the protagonist, the antagonist, halfling. That is the main character's cousin, and he's going to be the guy who runs the rebellion against vampires. I have the main character, or the side character, that runs the vampire cult. That's a human. I have a boy who basically is supposed to be, I think the right word that I'm trying to use is a foil. He's a foil of the main character, and he's a human. And then I have another human character who is basically like the childhood friend of the main character and kind of love interest. And then I have obviously the Grim Reaper, which is, he's like, he is supposed to give off, if you've ever watched Death Note, he's supposed to give off Shinigami vibes. Like, he's not for or against the main character. He's helping her, but he's not, he's not necessarily rooting for her. He also is supposed to give off like Mad Hatter vibes. I want him to be kind of weird and have a very specific personality. That's the 7 people that I got going on here. I haven't written anything. There's nothing that's been written. I only have this idea, and then the characters kind of, and then obviously the name. I have the names of each of the books, I think, and kind of an idea I'm still kind of working on. I wanted to do a little bit more research about vampires and fae, because I don't necessarily want them to be exactly like they are in, their mythology, but I kind of want to take from that and kind of get an idea of how I can make these dynamics work, and like how I'm going to do the magic system, because I'm going to have a magic system and it's going to be different for each species. So the fae have a magic system, the halflings have a magic system. It's a little bit different because since they're not full pure blood fae, it's a little bit different for them. Humans are going to have a way to harness magic that's going to be different, and then vampires are also going to have something else going on. I haven't fully decided how that's going to look, so I still have a lot of research that I need to do. The world building, still doing a little bit of research. I have a little bit of a map, like names of things kind of idea. I haven't decided what I'm going to do for when the main character is in the Land of the Dead. I didn't know if I wanted to just do a time skip for that, or if I wanted to kind of show parts of that, because she's there for 10 years and it might be cool to kind of have like, unless I make a little like second, like 1.5 novel, I don't know. And I haven't done any scripting. I haven't really done any paneling or anything. Obviously, I want to script before I start paneling. And I kind of have an idea how I want the characters to look. I'll actually show you some photos, because I did do some Pinterest research to kind of get an idea of what I wanted the world to look like, what I wanted the fashion to look like, because that's important to me. And then what I want the characters to look like. So for the world, dark, gothic, medieval, a little futuristic here and there. The fashion is going to be very distinct. I want all my characters to have a really specific fashion sense. Like, I don't want any of them. Like, I really want this graphic novel to be colorful. I want it to be really eye-catching. So I want the fashion in the world and the colors that I put into the scenes and everything to really like catch your eye. My goal is to, by next year, hopefully early next year, at least have the rough draft of the graphic novel. Rough draft as in scripted and drawn. and doing some editing so that I can think about publishing it next year. That's what I have to say about that. I'm going to try to do at least once a month, do a vlog showing the process of me working on it. And like I said, my Patreon, I have a specific tier for my graphic novel. So if you really are interested in seeing how I'm doing everything, I'm going to do a lot more sharing on Patreon. Obviously, I'm going to do very vague and like whatever here, but I'll show like everything behind the scenes on Patreon. If you're interested in that, feel free to support. Low-key ended that weird, so I'm doing an extra outro. I have my Patreon, and on there I'll do a lot more the behind the scenes, probably show more of my process, but with scripting and paneling and what my pages look like in the rough stages, some of my research, some of my thought process on how I'm doing what I'm doing. So if you want to support on there, that'd be really cool. You don't obviously have to. Even being here is really cool. Appreciate any support, really. That's all I wanted to say. Just kind of wanted to actually talk about what the project is before I start sharing my process on it. So yeah, thank you.